Yeah. I'm on here for my tournament. I'm actually Randy Orton in this one. Um, it's going to be. Oh, thank you for the 2 likes already, Dane. Thank you very much. Man, I've been following and tracking some storms and watching a demolition derby race. Uh, I want to be honest with you. The reason I didn't get to do any of the WWE tournaments is I banged my finger up pretty good. But there is a disturbing story coming out of uh, Los Angeles, California, that I really, really want to get into. Amy, thank you for the story. And I've been studying it and been watching it, and it's blowing me away. We're going to start off with this, and you're not going to believe this. And I like to think, I like to think they call for an uprising on this one. And I tried to warn you about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and this guy's running for president, and he's wanting to run for president, and he wants to legalize pedophilia. Not just that, you're not going to believe what he likes to do. With further ado, we're going to start the tournament. You can see we're already in the N's heading to the R's, so we're getting close to the round 2. Hope you enjoy the game designs and the real news. The Rock will never be the same after this comes out. Share this viral. If you don't, your kids will be eating. So, we're going to start off with this.
I eat children. How old are you?
Hold on.
12.
Let's see if we can get.
Only to 10. Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Shit.
Children and pineapple. I eat children. How old are you?
12.
Oh, okay. Only to 10. Only to
That's
10.
good. That's good.
Children and pineapple. Children and pineapple. I eat children. How old are you?
12.
Oh, okay. Only to 10. Only to
That's
10.
good. That's good.
Children and pineapple. Children and pineapple.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Now, I know what people are thinking. Obviously, for those of us who are awake, what Hollywood does, what these globalists do. And when somebody hears somehow, I don't even know how this is a joke nowadays, but people find humor in this stuff because they don't even know what they're laughing at. But humor such as this, right, where they goes, well, I eat children. And people go, what am I laughing at? Yeah, we eat children. Up 10 and under. People think that these people are joking. And I get it when somebody finds a video like this, they're just going to go, you're insane, you're out of your mind, because this isn't something you would lead with to somebody who's asleep. This isn't a topic you would go, hey, to somebody who's just walking around in a daze, who thinks everything going on in the world is real. You wouldn't go up to them and go, hey, do you know that they eat babies? Because their head would explode. They can't take it. That's, again, one of the reasons that I focus on signs and symbols, is because when people see the repetition, it helps break them from the mind control. Now, I want to just get into this for a few minutes because it's just funny how they've taken this. Well, it's not literally funny. I mean, it's just ridiculous how they've taken this and they can continue to say stuff like this about eating children. And people they don't even realize what they're even saying. And they just laugh at it. They're like, oh, he's just joking around. Well, in reality, people should be like, what are you joking about eating a child for? I mean, that's disgusting. It's not funny. It's inappropriate, right? But instead, we live in a world where nowadays, if a guy tells a woman she looks beautiful, it's sexual harassment and it's repulsive and the guy's a pervert, right? But they could say stuff like this. I mean, it's insane how upside down everything is, but that's the way that these people operate. Now, I've covered The Rock before. these Saturday Night Live clips, you know, Hail Satan. The other clip about the robot, which you'll see here.
Hi guys. My name is Roy, and for the most evil invention in the world contest, I invented a child molesting robot. I'm sorry. I'll speak up. It's a robot that is designed to molest children. And I call it Robo Jump. You see, it's powered by solar rechargeable fuel cells, and it costs pennies to manufacture. And it can theoretically molest twice as many children as a human molester, and quite frankly, half the time. So, do I win the contest? Seems like I win.
Oh my God!
What's wrong?
What's wrong? My most evil idea was a blizzard in July.
Right. Well, I went in a slightly different direction with the assignment.
You built a mechanical sex predator!
Yes. That's exactly right. This guy gets it. You get it.
Oh my God, no I don't. How do you even build a child molesting robot?
Well, that's a great question. What you do is you start by building a regular robot, then you molest it and note that it continues the cycle.
Obviously, when you become as big and as famous as The Rock, and you come from, you know, professional wrestling background to be one of the most highly paid people, of course, in Hollywood, of course, you're a part of it. All of these people are, and they let their hand be known. They always talk about these things. They flash the hand signs, right? They act as philanthropists. Remember, I constantly talk about philanthropy because that is what they're all taught through Freemasonry, through all of these secret societies they go through. They're told to present themselves as philanthropists. That way they're perceived by people as always being giving and caring people, and they can point a finger at you and say, well, what do you do with your time? What do you do with your money? Oh, these people are giving to cancer. Oh, these people are giving to this. What are you doing? When in reality, we shouldn't even be dealing with things like cancer. We're only dealing with it because they've created it, and they give it to people through the chemicals that they dump on us. But nonetheless, let's talk about this sacrificing and this cannibalism thing. I've talked about it many times with Aleister Crowley, and in his books and his teaching on magic, he says for the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. For evocations, it would be more convenient to place the blood of the victim in the triangle. He goes on to say, the bloody sacrifice, though more dangerous, is more efficient, and for nearly all purposes, human sacrifice is the best. So he talks about human sacrifice here, but this isn't the first place we hear about it. For those of you who aren't familiar with blood libel, okay, and I can't say some of the words in here, but you could read along for yourself. I'm going to replace the word with those people. But just look at this, and again, this isn't hate speech against anyone. I'm just telling you that this existed. And when things like this exist, people just go, oh, you know, people made it up. Oh, it's a false allegation. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Well, what's it out there for then? You know, ask yourself that. Oh, all these people just got together to make it up, right? Just as blood libel is an anti-Semitic word accusing these people of kidnapping and murdering the children of Christians in order to use their blood as part of religious rituals. Again, that's blood libel. Historically, these claims, alongside those of well poisoning and host desecration, have been a major theme of the persecution of these people. Blood libels typically say that these people require human blood for the baking of matzahs for Passover, although the element was allegedly absent in the earliest cases, which claim that then contemporary Jews reenacted the crucifixion. The accusations often assert that the blood of the children of Christians is especially coveted, and historically, blood libel claims have been made in order to account for the otherwise unexplained deaths of children. In some cases, the alleged victim of human sacrifice has become venerated as a martyr, a holy figure around whom a sect might arise. And you go through here, and look, this is just Wikipedia. I mean, you could find this in other articles and things like that. I get it. You can't use Wikipedia really as a source, but this is a real thing. I just want to show you that blood libel is a real thing that has gone on through history. Even says in here, although altogether there have been 150 recorded cases of blood libel that resulted in the arrest of and killing of these people throughout history, most of them in the Middle Ages. In almost every case, these people were murdered, sometimes by a mob, sometimes following torture and trial. Okay, so these things did happen. They did occur. The problem is that people don't believe that this stuff occurs anymore, and I've said it a million times. All these things that used to occur. They've just created a matrix around it. They hide it, right? It's all this stuff with witches. People believe that, the witch trials and all that stuff existed, and now they think it doesn't, but every movie, every cartoon, every Disney thing is about witches and witchcraft, right? But they're like, oh, there's no real witches. Yet they're Vogue and these other people are writing articles about the newest fashion trend for witches and things like that, but they don't believe it's going on. So the same goes for this stuff. These people never stopped doing any of these things. They've just hidden it from us, and now we live in the dumbest time period ever in the history of the world, so people don't realize this stuff's going on because they're walking around on their phones, they're walking into walls, they don't have a clue. But this did occur. This is something that did happen in history. And of course they take it and they twist it and they say, well, it was all, made up. They made it up because they didn't like these specific people, which what a coincidence, right? And again, this isn't hate speech against anyone, because the people who claim, to follow these practices can be of any skin color, any ethnicity. Okay, they're not what you think. It's not just these people who look a certain way. These teachings, which you can find inside of the Kabbalah, inside of the Zohar, inside of Crowley's teachings, this is what goes on.
Who's that? Hey, Rachel. It's the same stuff that they've been doing since I guess you could say World War I, World War II, just like I talked yesterday. They just want to say Christians are getting attacked, but I've been seeing atheists get attacked too, so what in the world are we talking about? It ain't just Christians, it's all of them. It's everybody. If you're not rich, I'll tell you this right now. I'm going to say this one more time. Maybe 40 million times until they cut me off. Rich is taking out the poor. It does not matter if you're atheist, Christian, black, white, Hispanic. That's why the Russian collusion is over. Mueller has lost, which I knew he was going to lose. It was all a lie. I don't know how to explain it. All I know is who killed the bus drivers, just like the Joker said in the movie. They're killing everybody. It doesn't matter who they are. Antifas are going to die from the people that hired them. I mean, that's about it. I'm talking about The Rock eating kids, molestation kids, and he's wanting to bring it in here and legalize it when he's the president of the United States in 2021, which it's not even his ideal or idea. You know what I mean? It's all about controlling the population. That's it. And we got 6 new storms out in the Gulf that they're not even talking about. Oh, Beryl is getting weaker. Yeah, but it can get stronger again right after it gets past the wind shear, because you still can put chemtrails and stuff into the storm. People don't understand that. They're like, oh, everything's good, but Beryl's going to be weak and forever. No, it's not. When it gets into the Gulf, mark my words, it's going to hit Texas. Probably by Wednesday.
This is what they're making mainstream, and that's why they use humor, like The Rock saying something like that. And this isn't the first clip.
And it's nice to hear from you again, Rachel. It's not been easy for me, I promise you. Hearing about kids getting eaten, leave them in the car to bake them so they can eat. Having, dogs being left in the car here in Birmingham. This lady finally got arrested. I don't know what took so long the police department to arrest them. I think the police needs to be slapped in the face. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is depressing. You're right, it is. And I haven't been with nobody in over a year, so yes, it's pretty depressing when you lose your loved one. But I'm gonna keep on going because I love every one of y'all.
I mean, how many clips have I shown of people? I just showed one Jerry Seinfeld of the Kardashians talking about eating, human flesh and things like that. Santa Clarita Diet. Okay, they're taking all this stuff. They're using humor to deflect, which I've said a million times, and then they're normalizing it. It's amazing to me that people cannot see this. But I understand when somebody is sound asleep and they find a video like this, they're just going to automatically go, oh, you're out of your mind. You're telling me that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, eats children. And what people don't understand is this practice has been going on, since ancient Egypt, since Babylon.
Okay, first of all, we are running out. Okay, I know that right now. It says it big time lately. We're running out of food, and I'll tell you what, the rich have been pulling all of our food. They shut all them Walmarts down. Where do you think our food's going to? Big gigantic freezer underground. Okay, our food is going underground for the rich people to leave the poor people to die from what's coming. I don't know who's going to survive. Quite frankly, I try to tell you how to survive and what you needed before it happened. Guys, the Simpsons are not lying. Everything that they have predicted is coming true. Everything. Donald Trump's death is happening. It's going to happen, folks. I just thought you might want to know that. Knowing that Barry Serrato is being hunted down by our men. That's big. And Russia's looking for him. They got spies out there looking for him. I watched something today with geometry. If you believe in letters and numbers and names, it spells Barack Hussein Obama and a bunch of them, folks. I hate to break the news to you, African Americans that loved him. He don't love you. And I have been proving it time after time and time again. Donald Trump don't love you. They're all Freemasons. Bush don't love you. Bill Clinton don't love you. They're all dying. They're going to die, so they want you to die. That's their plan. Unless you fight back. If you let these people run over you when they've hired nothing but criminals as cops, then what are you fighting for? My grandfather said fight. World War II, Private Wilson White, fight. What would your dad do if he was in the war or he died? What would you done if your mom or your aunt or your uncle fought for him and this happened? Yes, we are in ancient Babylon. So freaking what? They made it happen like that. None of this would happen if they would blow up CERN. They're not finding anything. They're failing. They're 25 years off. This crap you're seeing on the news and the crap you're seeing on YouTube with these big gigantic channels talking about Nibiru, which it's not even called Nibiru. Anybody that says Nibiru is a FBI or a CIA operative. I thought you might want to know that. When you hear Wormwood, you know you're right. But if you hear Planet X, you might as well go back to Friday the 13th and watch Jason X.
And there is, a high that these people get, from drinking the blood of children. There is there's a reason that Crowley talks about using innocent children, especially young boys, in these black magic rituals.
The solution? Fight. Because they're going to go after your kids. Do you not see what happened in Harvey? Do you not see what happened in Arizona? John McCain's backyard? Does anybody realize who had them kids in them Walmarts? It's not just Trump, folks. It's the whole freaking old people. All of them are old, folks. We're young. We're younger than them. We can fight back. It's not going to be our military, folks. It's going to be these dumbasses from other countries that's going to come in on us. Russia's been trying to warn us, and nobody wants to believe them because they want to push us away from Russia, because Russia has had nothing but asteroids coming at them, earthquakes, blood, rain of blood. Knowing it ain't blood, it's chemicals from FEMA that ordered from China. If you let China run all over you like they've been doing all your life, something's wrong. Yeah. All I know is Kid Rock was warning you, Chuck Norris was warning you, Steven Seagal has been warning you, Jean-Claude Van Damme, both of them are sure right now, with none other than Edward Snowden, that walked away from the pedophile government. I'm going to keep on saying pedophile government. Because if Joe Biden runs for president or Rock runs for president, we are screwed, folks. $777.
People don't want to believe it goes on, and I'm telling you, if you're someone who's listening who isn't aware of this stuff, it is going on. It's just been hidden. But the reason that you're here and you found this channel, you should consider it a sign to look further, to dig deeper, to understand what's really going on, because it's the truth. And your mind just doesn't want to believe it because you've been taught and trained with nothing but lies. You've been put through school systems that teach you the same thing over and over again, that educate you with lies and a fake history of the world. These people have been controlling reality for a long period of time and deceiving many. So remember, that the only truth in this world is Jesus Christ. If you're somebody out there and this stuff scares you, I don't blame you. I understand how deep it gets. I understand how scary it can get. But remember, if you have salvation through Jesus Christ, you've already won, and you don't need to know this stuff. The reason that I do this channel is to show people who are asleep the truth. And a lot of times it does help people pick up their Bible and come back to God. And it helps them find salvation through Jesus Christ. But they can only do that on their own. And for those of us who are awake and have salvation and still want to see this stuff because we want to point it out, that's what we do it for, to point it out to people, because people, can get lulled to sleep and go back into being lukewarm and not realizing that there really is a spiritual war going on. So, again, this is just another clip, and I want to thank somebody who passed it on to me. I don't have their name in front of me right now, but they know who they are. I sent them a message and thanked them. It's the same stuff, right? Day in and day out. Humor, deflection. This is how they normalize all this stuff. And then people will come over here and they'll be like, you're out of your mind. You're a lunatic. Oh, you really think that? If they only knew, right? And you can look into things like blood libel. Okay? Things that have been documented, that have occurred. But then they come up with reasons. Well, it was all made up, right? It was made up because they were persecuting those people specifically. Oh, so they just made it up that they were just eating. You know what I mean? They're running around going, they're eating children. Let's kill them because I don't like the way that their nose looks or their hair looks. Give me a break. How asleep do you have to be to fall for that kind of narrative? So here's The Rock just talking about eating children, just more normal stuff going on in today's world, right? Unbelievable. But we're supposed to laugh. Don't forget to hit that laugh box. What a joke. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.
Well, you heard it. And I tried to warn you. And I tried to warn you. And I tried to warn you. Even Keanu Reeves announced it during January. He said that Christmas was nothing but Hollywood stars eating kids. I fell out of my chair. And now this comes out in July. And I'd like to thank Amy for giving me that story. That was Amy's stuff. Much respect. Thank you. Don't look good. I'll tell you what. It doesn't look good for a lot of people right now. And I don't know. It's just, y'all don't fight back, y'all gonna be screwed. That's all I got to say. I was never the type to give up. I was never the type to back down from a fight. Think about it. Look what happened in Hurricane Katrina. Guys, that ought to wake you up. What I've been putting on my YouTube channel ought to wake you up. And if it don't, then you're an idiot. That's all I got to say. I got more news. I'm just hold on. I'm tired of people watching the news about Q, knowing that QAnon is a delusion. I thought you might want to know that. But we got bigger problems, folks. We've got 6 new storms out in the Gulf. And Hawaii has turned into a bottomless pit. All right. We're going to go to let's go to this one. 5 tropical storms. And then you got another one coming up. So here we go. One in Louisiana, in the Gulf of Louisiana. Another one close to Mexico. Another one behind Burrell. Okay. And then you got Chris Christie. Hurricane Chris Christie is what we're going to call him. And it's heading to the Long Isles. Okay. That's not all. We got another hurricane heading toward Hawaii. And we got Maria, Typhoon Maria, heading toward China. Please do me a favor. I don't care who's controlling that storm. Please destroy China. That's all I got to say. If we're going to use the weather warfare the right way, do it. Destroy China. And that's the way I look at it. So here we go. Without further ado, this is Daniel, Logic of Before Authority. He's awesome. Enjoy.
Now, don't we just have some crazy weather patterns and crazy weather? You're looking off the east coast of the United States at I guess you'd call it upper level low that's trying to become a lower level low, trying to turn into a tropical depression. It's spinning counterclockwise. It's intensifying. If I stop it here, you can see that here along the coast of Florida and Georgia and South Carolina, it's intensifying. So we've got that going on. And then back behind it over here is another huge area that's trying to organize. So we got those 2 storms doing their thing. And then we've got this thing here that has turned into a tropical depression. it was over here in Florida like this one is, and then it slid across out into the Gulf and started organizing, and in the last 24 hours has become a tropical depression and has rotation. And they expect it to kind of stay out over the water and intensify. That is just crazy. I mean, all the weather on the eastern part of the United States is moving from east to west, unlike the normal 99% of the time of moving west to east or some combination of west to east. It's running to the west. Then down here, we have a system that's organizing as well. Another low pressure area that in the last few hours, meaning this morning, going into this afternoon, it has started to a little bit of rotation. So we have another tropical trying to turn into a hurricane here. And then if we slip off the coast out here, we find another storm. And this one is heading out towards Hawaii. Hawaii is, of course, quite a ways away. So it's going to take a bit, and there's no way to know if it's going to actually make it to Hawaii or not. But I can only imagine the things that would go on if you had a hurricane hit a volcano with all that lava running and all that water pouring on that lava and super cooling it and causing those channels to change directions. It would be just an absolute disaster for a huge rainstorm. Doesn't even matter if it's a hurricane or not, to go into Hawaii right now. A lot of water is not what they need. Especially with the Helena slump already slumping and the earthquakes continuing at a record pace, breaking new records every day for the amount of earthquakes. I mean, we're up around 700 a day right now. And it was just 3 weeks ago they said, we broke 500. That's a world record for the most earthquakes in one day. And since then, every day we have broken that record and increased in intensity the number of earthquakes. So that slump is slumping. And I'm going to have a video more in depth on Hawaii today. I'm going to take you over there and I'm going to show you something that is really concerning as to something that's going on that y'all guys, I've touched on it, but I really didn't get into it, and I'm going to show you something. It's, you'll see. But in this video, I just wanted to show you all the crazy weather that is going on, at least on this, the U.S. side of the world. The rest of the world's got crazy stuff going on too. But we've got 4, 5 systems trying to develop. And then if you head towards Africa, there's another system out here that has got some spin to it as well. It's not real organized yet, but it does have rotation. And so that looks like that's trying to do something as well. So that'd be 6 storms trying to turn into hurricanes at one time. And all the weather in the United States running in reverse. Make y'all guys aware that out in California, we've got the man-made fires going on again this year. They are burning people out of their neighborhoods.
Man-made fires are drones from China.
And out of that state. If y'all guys haven't figured it out yet, if you're in California, they want you out. They want California to empty out, and they will do whatever it takes to get you out, including and not excluding a tsunami to wipe you out if you won't get out. Just like last year, they used drones with energy weapons to set the fires all up and down this state. and they're doing it again this year. Look at the fires, and you'll hear the weathermen and the people talking about it like the fire just exploded, and it's got so big so fast because of energy weapons is what it is. Well, I've got low battery, so we're going to cut this video short. Just wanted to make you aware of those few things that are going on. I'll be back to you again later today with an in-depth video update, full update on Hawaii, the Kilauea volcano, and something that's going on there that y'all guys need to know about. I'll see you on the next video here a little bit in a couple hours. This is Daniel Alexander Cannon, and this is Logic Before Authority.
He's awesome. He is awesome. Go subscribe to him. He's unbelievable. I mean, I know I'm good, but he's good too. When we need a whole team of reporters like me and him out there, and I don't see that many. I really don't. I don't go to the big. They're pulling you into death, and I'm trying to get you survive. So, and we're going to survive. I don't see it no other way. If you didn't hear what Daniel said, you might want to get out of California because they want you out for some reason, right? All right, let's go to the next deal. Told you we had 6 storms. What is next? Oh, found out today that they're lowering the water dams on purpose with construction crews. Ain't that something? Thought you might want to know that. There you go. I want y'all to hear something here. Enjoy. FEMA camp coffins coming during a catastrophe, earthquake, hurricane near you. While you're watching and listening and watching the wrestling, I got to be in this match against this big man. Root me on if you want to, but I'm in the tournament with Randy Orton, former Marine. All right, enjoy. We got 2 stories I want y'all to hear. This connects to the hurricanes, the earthquakes, and the volcanoes, and the fires that's happening in California. Yep.
Not too long ago, I talked with Dale Bohannon, whom I've known since, I guess, the mid-1980s. And he told me something very interesting that he found back in the fall of 2000 while he was on a business trip. Listen to this, folks.
I was pulled to the side road, which was a new cut gravel dirt road in front of a business, a builder supply business, actually top-notch builder supply in Madison, Georgia. To my right, this was previously was a soybean field, and this little new cut road divided this field, and the right side of the road was filled with which I thought was portable toilets. I never looked at them that close. Same in color, maybe black, but which was an odd color. And I was sitting there going over my notes, and a van pulled alongside of me that turned out to be the property owner. And he greeted me, and he was by himself, and so we had a good little dialogue there, and I asked him about the field of black boxes. What were they? Because I'd never seen anything like that. And his statement was that if he told me, I would be one of few people in Madison, Georgia that knew about them. And he says they're disposable coffins, I believe he told me. And he says there's 100 at that time, and he said there was 125,000 there. They were stacked. He told me 15 high. I asked him who owned them, and he stated that the CDC owned them and that they were leasing his land for storage. And he said his brother worked with the CDC in Atlanta and had been asked by the CDC to do a 3-year extension to place temporary morgues all across the nation.
So in January of this year, 2005, we decided to drive to beautiful Madison, Georgia, and take a look for ourselves. It was on a Sunday and no one was around, with the exception of this one pickup truck that was coming out the narrow road that we were going in on next to this field. We flagged down the pickup truck, and it was providential that the driver of this pickup truck turned out to be the son of the man that owned this field. So naturally, we started asking him questions. And he told us that not long ago, there had been as many as 500,000 of these grave liners or disposable coffins. We asked him for permission if we could look around, and he said yes, so we did.
We're just getting an idea for the size of these boxes. What could these boxes be used for? Well, they're called casket liners. And that's an interesting term, isn't it? It's a casket liner. When I first heard the term casket liner, I thought perhaps a lining for a casket. But this is too big to be on the inside of a casket. So certainly this could be used as a casket. This is an inexpensive casket. And you can see the size here. There's lots of room. I think my friends here, we could all probably get inside, and it might be a little cozy, but we'd fit just fine. Which tells me that these liners can be used for more than just one. And one more time, what kind of liners are these?
Casket liners.
These are casket liners.
That's what the man said.
That's what the man told us. And we're told that there were about 500,000 out here.
Later, as I went back to my home office, I spoke of it there, and of course, people usually don't want to hear too much about this kind of thing. So it's never been mentioned, publicly, except just here and there. Because like I said, the reaction I got, people didn't want to know about it, the few people that I spoke to, and so I just dropped it. And until I went to a luncheon, a fundraiser for Representative Saxby Chambliss. He was running for his second term for the U.S. House of Representatives. And it was a crowd, probably 100, maybe 150. It was congressmen, senators, state senators, and mayors. There was one table we probably had 2 3-star generals and a couple of 1-star with their spouses. So it was a real high-powered meeting. But the keynote speaker was a congressman, and I don't remember his name. He'd just been in the House for a long time, and he was the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. And so he just spoke in behalf of Representative Chambliss and the importance of having him on board to be reelected due to our threats. But it had to do with the nuclear devices that was missing from the old Soviet Union, and it had gotten into terrorist hands, and it was, the emphasis was on the critical state that we face in this country. And he said we could lose tens of millions of people in the next decade, and he used those terms, due to a nuclear strike on U.S. soil. And I was sitting there, and it became very clear to me that that could very well explain why just weeks, I mean, could be 2 to 3 weeks prior to that meeting, that I had stumbled upon these, at that time, 125,000 disposable liners or caskets or coffins or whatever that could be termed as in that soybean field in Madison, Georgia.
Did you catch what he said, friends? At this high-powered meeting, it was in Perry, Georgia, near Robins Air Force Base, the largest employer in the state of Georgia, Robins Air Force Base. The chairman of the Armed Services Committee was the keynote speaker. The chairman of the Armed Services Committee, whoever that may be, used to be Sam Nunn of Georgia, from the district I was born and raised in. Whoever that chairman is generally one of the most powerful men in Washington. And I can't remember the chairman's name at that time myself, but he said, this was in the year 2000, I believe, that in the next 10 years, possibly due to nuclear strikes, tens of millions of people could lose their lives. And we've just read what our prophet said. Now, what we've just seen is one United States city outside, this is Atlanta, it has a metropolitan population area of roughly 4 million people. So this is one field outside of one U.S. city, And the brother of the man that owns this field, that the government is leasing this field from to store these disposable coffins, this brother was given 3 years to set up temporary morgues around the. Now, we found the website that we think these disposable coffins were made at, and we noticed that the lids that they're advertising on the website were rounded. But the lids, hundreds of thousands of lids there, the lids we found, folks, were flat, and they were reinforced. You know what that could mean? You can stack them on top of each other. That's a lot neater to stack them in disposable coffins than what we saw after the tsunami, when we would see bulldozers digging holes and taking bodies and pushing bodies into holes. America can stomach this much better.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Mike from Nibiru News and Someone'sBones.com. First, a reminder, we will be doing a live broadcast tonight at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So set your watches and please join us then for a fantastic conversation. In the meantime, I have a short article I would like to read. It'll just take 3 or 4 minutes. As people know, I like to keep things short. I don't like to waste words or people's times. I don't write audaciously, but never use 1,000 words to say what you can say in 500 words effectively. A great rule for people out there aspiring to write. On with the article. FEMA orders 16,000 guillotine blades from Mexico, and I will read. While President Trump inspected prototype border walls near San Diego, FEMA agents traveled to Juarez, where they discreetly ordered thousands of guillotine blades from a Mexican metal manufacturer 2 miles south of the border, says an active FEMA agent speaking under condition of anonymity. The purchase order, he said, omitted the word guillotine, but specifically requested 16,000 shearing blades, each one 30 inches by a quarter inch by 15 inches, with a razor-sharp edge ground at a 17-degree angle, constructed of solid plate monosteel. The exact composition and dimensions of guillotine blades currently stored at FEMA camps nationwide. Our source said the shop owner, Jose Lopez of, I'm redacting the name of the company for now, I'll explain why afterwards, accepted the deal only after the lead FEMA agent paid up front and promised not to retaliate if the blades dulled from overuse. The request stipulated the blades be manufactured ASAP. Unmarked 18-wheelers would pick up finished product at regular intervals until the entire order was fulfilled. FEMA sought foreign assistance, our source said, because using American manufacturers would generate an identifiable paper trail linking the agency to the purchase. Mexican business ethics are less stringent and do not require extensive paperwork. A money exchange and a handshake seals a deal. I quote our source. The agency is very careful in procuring equipment to be used against civilians. They want to avoid both public and congressional scrutiny. The guillotines were purchased in China, the blades in Mexico, and other locations. We spread things out. Makes it harder to trace exactly what is being purchased, just in case. Asked how FEMA crosses the border, he said the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Agency receives instructions to overlook FEMA vehicles that exit or enter the United States. Problems happen, he added, when FEMA convoys encounter Mexican federal police or drug cartels. Issues are usually resolved with a bribe or bullets. The current order of guillotine blades, he said, is slated for potential hotspots, primarily zones 6, 7, and 8, areas FEMA expects the most resistance when martial law is declared. Once affixed to the guillotine chassis, the razor-sharp blades will decapitate unruly, law-abiding citizens who have been herded like cattle into FEMA internment camps. Guillotines are more effective than bullets at enforcing cooperation. I quote him again. FEMA has conducted beta tests on this matter. A crowd of people is more frightened than seeing a person's head cut off than seeing him placed before a firing squad. How do they know this? Well, all I'll say is during Hurricane Harvey, many people, mostly homeless, disappeared. Where do you think they went? He asked.
Know where they went.
Asked if President Trump sanctioned guillotine purchases or the aforementioned actions, he said Trump is probably oblivious to what is really happening to the nation. FEMA is autonomous and answers to neither the president nor any executive body. It is immune to congressional review or oversight committees. When probed for information on the martial law timetable, our source said he had no idea when FEMA would manipulate the president to sign the order, but added that FEMA has been preparing since the early 1990s and is ready to swoop into action at a moment's notice. And that concludes the short article I wanted to read today. The reason I'm redacting the name of the company is that I personally attempted to reach out to the company in question. I received a response from a very nervous individual, and I decided that it would be a bad idea to put his name in the article because I know there would be other people, particularly trolls, that would attempt to contact and harass this individual's organization. So, for that reason, I redacted. I also recognize a contradiction in the story. One of the early quotes by our source states that they are going overseas to prevent congressional scrutiny, and later on in the story, he says they are immune to congressional scrutiny. So I identified and recognized this after I completed the article, and I just wanted to point out that I do recognize that discrepancy. All right, I hope to see you guys at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mike out for now. Have a great afternoon. And if I can finish this up. All right, bye-bye.
Tried to warn y'all. Nobody wants to listen, do they? Only one like and one person listening, 2 people. Told you there was a warning for none other than Harvey victims were disappearing. Over 150,000 people missing, folks, from Hurricane Harvey. That's just Hurricane Harvey. That's not including all the other hurricanes. I'm telling you, folks, if you don't get your shit together and you don't find out what's going on, you're going to be just like the Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Harvey situation. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Y'all need to wake up. Seriously. You don't, your fault. Let's see here. What's next on the agenda here? Get it? Agenda 21. That's what they're doing. I mean, wake up, guys. Let's see here. Did we get them all on that one? I think we did. Yeah, Project Bluebeam. If you've not heard, this is a story that's coming out for July 27th. If you see these planets and you see fake aliens, you know where I got it from? Me. I said Project Bluebeams, get it right in a minute, is trouble, folks. It's trouble. Like Independence Day trouble. Alright, here you go. That's not it. Shit. Don't know what that is. Sorry, guys. How about that? Randy Orton wins. He destroyed that fat ass. Let's see here. I just wonder if y'all are prepared, or y'all too worried about NASCAR and football and wrestling. That's what I want to know. That's the reason I come on this channel. Let's see here. Okay, here you go. Enjoy. Oh, y'all gonna love this one. This is FEMA NWO telling you that they're coming.
The problem is the monopoly game, which is controlled by the Federal Reserve, the private bank, which is actually controlled out of London, is manipulating all the dollars to put them out, put more and more people into debt. So the illusion of equity they have in real estate is coming apart. The players that are analyzing everything are expecting massive foreclosures next year and the beginning of what we call the recession it's going to be worse than 29. It's your house that you're living in. You think you own it. You don't.
Right.
You have contractual right to transfer the airspace, subject to you paying taxes to the state.
Right.
Or the Global 2000 discussions that we had. The real problem that they have, as Kissinger says, is there are just too many people on the planet. And 40% of the world, 2 billion of us, exist on less than $2 a day. The summary of the Global 2000 report I put up on my website, nohoax.com. But if you look at it, it makes sense to get rid of people. So what they said, they're going to make godlike decisions on who lives and who dies. Now, obviously, some of the meetings we sat on, we were planning on using neutron bombs on the major cities because that contains most of what they call...
You actually heard this?
I said it on the meetings. I was in the game big time. In fact, I was making such a mess, they decided rather than kill me, which they could, they just invited me into the inner group and asked me to be the finance chairman. And at that point, I probably would have been in, Secretary of the Treasury or something, whatever they wanted to do with me. What I was doing prior to that, so... making it right, I would volunteer to become a president of a company, and I'd go in and liquidate it. And we get rid of the expendable containers. That was my job.
Expendable containers meaning human beings?
That's right.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's
that
the inside vernacular, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what we used at that time. I mean, it went from there to useless eaters today, so you're happy with it. You're a human resource. So, which, all you are is part of the commodity. Even in the business sense, you look at it, you have a cost. Labor, what is labor?
Yeah.
Human resource.
Right.
When you're going to put together some kind of product. Well, the inside of the game, when we started using neutron bombs, today they figure that biologicals are much cheaper. They're still planning on, the plan is to get a war started in the Middle East, and they're still planning on using a neutron bomb, or one of the bombs that they've got developed on Israel, and that's to begin World War III, which is all in the cards. And it's going to happen. They even put a monument up to this whole program. It's called the Georgia Guidestones. Outside of Atlanta, and they've got it all set down there. It's all in 8 languages. Basically, it's fait accompli as far as they're concerned. It's just to get the thing going in the Middle East, and it's not going fast enough. I mean, Carter put this thing in, so we have the Plan 2000, with the war starting in the year 2000 in the Middle East.
Right.
Reduce the population of the planet down to 500 million, have one world currency under the Homeland Security, or FEMA, if you want to call it, they're going to declare an emergency, which are going to shut down everything. My friends, my CIA associates, I don't even call them friends anymore. CIA is crooks in action.
Yeah.
They're all professional liars.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be if they have that job.
Yeah.
So you have to look at what they're doing. Anyway, they're so concerned they're leaving the country too. Most of them are going to Latin America. Meanwhile, they're getting in every day right now, just closing in to make it so we're going to be set up in these enemy prisoner war camps. I published a book. It's called Chaos in America. In it, I was asked to build an enemy prisoner war camp. I put the contract in this book, so you can read it for yourself. This is in downtown Las Vegas, right on the railroad tracks. It says enemy prisoner war camp. They're all on top, and they're building them all the way across the United States right now. Bush signed an executive order taking the old forts and the army places that we shut down to get those organized to hold the so-called dissidents. Now, what's the definition of a dissident? And the problem is that we're going to enslave ourselves because most of the people want to keep having food coming in, and you're going to follow the line. You're just walking yourself into your own prison camp. Then we're going to come down to the extermination, just like World War II.
Right,
Phil and I have lectured together. I know Phil's not. He's dead now.
Yeah, I know he's dead. And so what about what he was saying about the number of bases at that time? I think it was 129 bases before he died. Underground had already been built. Is that all for the elite?
Yeah.
Really?
What are they going to do with the rest of the people? They just get rid of them, leave them above ground, and be radiated. Now, my son happens to be a nuclear physicist. Spent the last 3.5 years in a secret city in Russia. They're about 12 years ahead of us. They have 22,000 nuclear warheads. And of course, we're the target. The Soviets have 3 nuclear submarines on the west coast and 3 on the east coast. They're about 2 football fields in length, 5 stories tall, and they all are nuclear power and aimed at our major cities. West Coast gone. Well, because the plan is the northern hemisphere is where they're going to release the nuclear bombs, and the theory was that the winds from the North Pole that are coming down, because that's increasing drastically, will go to the equator, and there will be very little spillover because of the reverse of the winds, because of the southern hemisphere. So therefore, the nuclear radiation here will be a lot more than the southern hemisphere.
And this is a fait accompli, you believe?
Oh, they think so. Oh, yeah, they think they've won. That's the reason why they don't bother about me talking about it. They don't care whether you know or not. What are you going to do about it? And you have no idea what China is until you go over there for yourself. With 1,300,000,000, you understand, almost, well, a little over 4 times our population.
Right.
It's, I spent some time over there and I had some government friends. They think what they're going to do is let the West go have its fight. And then they want to clean up. They say it's been 5,000 years. We want to run the world when we get through. And what they're doing? Acquiring all the assets. They figure that Canada and the United States, the property there will, the food growing areas will be enough to take care of their people. And that's what they're looking at. Why are they? I mean, they bought
so
oil.
the U.S. will become a resource. Yeah.
Whatever's left of it.
Whatever's left of it, yeah. You seem to be in a unique position to be able to put a fair amount of this together, which is quite interesting.
Well, I walk my talk. I played the game.
You played the game. You know one level of it.
And I know. I used to play around with the world leaders, so I know what they're planning on doing.
What change of heart? What happened in you that made you decide to share this information that happens at the inside levels?
Well, it come back to a moral situation that happened to me, I think. When I flew to Aspen, got my 2 daughters up there so they could go skiing. And when I was invited to this meeting, when I walked into the room, the world leaders were there, and that's when they asked me to be the finance chairman. As they said, we'd like you to be the finance chairman of the next president of the United States. And the first thing I asked is, why me? And they said, well, we owe you a favor. Remember I told you I volunteered to be president of the companies as I went down?
And then you liquidate, yeah.
I didn't charge them anything for it. It was just a game.
I see.
And anyway, that's what they said.
So I thought you'd be good on the team, yeah.
I'd be good. I'd be a team player. I just did it because it was, another one of these things. So next thing I asked them, I said, well, wait a minute. I just started this $100 million project. And they said, don't worry about it. We'll put it on ice. And I said, okay, who with? And I said, well, you can do that. Then I said the next thing was, who is going to be the next president? Now, this is 2 years before he became president. Right. They said Jimmy Carter, and I said, Jimmy who? They said, well, he's the Democratic governor of Georgia. And I said, I've been voting Republican. And Paul Volcker said, son, don't worry about it. We control them both.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I got the next question is, what does a finance chairman do?
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been doing that. I've been playing all this other stuff. They said, will you sit down with Ted? And so I sat over with Ted Kennedy. He's sitting right next to me. And Ted and I are, he's just joking. He says, George, you're going to love this job. You're really good with money. We're going to send you out to all the state Democratic functions to raise money for the National Democratic Party. And he said, you're going to meet some real foxy ladies. And just then, my daughter walked in. Mm-hmm. Ted looked at her and he says, wow, I want to go to bed with that. I says, no, you don't, Ted. That's my daughter, and she's 14. And his response to me was, I don't care. I was livid. I really didn't know what to do.
So it was that moment
well,
that was your insult.
That was part of it.
Yeah.
I got up and I walked across the room.
Yeah.
I then talked to Pierre Trudeau and his wife, who was the Prime Minister of Canada at that time. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting in front of them was a little half cigar box full of white powder. And then I'm looking around the rest of the room. I said, my God, something hit me at that point. If the world leaders have to resort to this, I don't think I want to be part of this thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, even to the pollution and getting everything else they're talking about, getting rid of all the other people. I mean, I was raised in a packing house and slaughtering animals, and you get to the point where people are just animals at that level. And then I found out a little bit more about the details of the Plan 2000, of the annihilation of the entire planet. I said, I got to stop these people. There's something there. I mean, it's just, they got to be stopped.
If you understand what just happened there, just get interested, okay? We're not done. More stuff. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Dave Hodges, the Common Sense Show, and we're the show that's freeing America, one enslaved mind at a time. Who's going to be sent to the FEMA camps? What criteria will be utilized to send people off to their eventual demise, all in Nazi Germany? Oh yes, the FEMA camps exist. We've covered that ad nauseum here on the Common Sense Show, as many other sites has as well. Over 800. We know about the super facility in Alaska. What facility would that be? Oh, the one that could hold 2 million. The one where they're currently conducting Project HARP behavior modification experiments. The very same thing we talked about with Josh McCoy when the NSA knocked us off the air. Well, let's talk about FEMA camp incarceration criteria. How are they going to determine who goes? And how they're going to determine it is through an algorithm they use. And this is what I've been told by insiders, and I've gotten this story multiple times from multiple sources. AI listens to everything we do, artificial intelligence. They listen to this broadcast. They know that you're logged on. They know how long you're logged on. They know every keystroke you press on a computer. They know every word that you say. You're identified by your voice print. You can be near a cell phone that is turned off. And if your voice is an earshot, it's being picked up and recorded by the NSA and filed under voice print. Keyword searches are applied, and you receive a score on 16 different dimensions, very similar to what psychologists call the MMPI, which is a 16-dimensional test of how high-functioning someone is, and you get a separate score for each dimension. Well, you'll do the same thing here with this NSA protocols. And they're developing a naughty and nice list, and then you get an aggregate score. And what I've been told is no one really knows where they're going to draw the line. Who is going to be, oh, we could leave them alone. They'll be good servants in the new society. Watch for concern. And then they could have another one that would be, we need to get them off the streets for the good of everybody. And then another one might be, instant termination. Now, what am I basing this on? Well, Steve Coyle has talked to a number of people. In fact,
The military person who gave him this information was killed after giving it to him. Red list, blue list stuff. Do you remember that from Steve? He doesn't talk about that a whole lot anymore, but if you ask him, he'll tell you the story I just did. And what we're looking at here is the NSA has cataloged everybody. They know who you are. They know your potential for rebellion. They've run their algorithms. And when the time comes and they face scan you, and the FBI has been gathering face scanning information for years, they've been doing it at traffic cams and all sorts of other places. I mean, what is it? You're videotaped or photographed, what, 1,300 to 2,000 times per day in America? Almost double that in Britain. They're going to get the naysayers off the street. They want you out of harm's way, their harm. The criteria is going to be what they've already told you. This is not rocket science, and I don't have to go to an unnamed source on the inside to tell you this. This has already been published in the MEAC report, and it's become the operating credo of the Department of Homeland Security. If you were at one time, they listed people as a Ron Paul supporter. Now they'll be a Donald Trump supporter, a Christian, a pro-Second Amendment advocate, a pro-constitutionalist, someone who is concerned about the New World Order, someone who is a Christian. You get the idea? Traditional Americans are now terrorists. We were labeled in the 2008 MEAC report as domestic terrorists. This is their operating credo. I mean, first of all, you blow a couple buildings up with airplanes. You create the need for the TSA to protect all of us, and they've caught exactly no terrorists. I went through a TSA line yesterday. What a flippin' joke these people are. I mean, their organization, their statutory policies aren't even consistent airport to airport. No wonder they have never caught anybody. And we had to make this up, and it's about radical Muslim extremism. And now that's considered to be hate speech. But that was the justification used to create the TSA and their groping policies to begin with. Incredible, isn't it? Isn't it just incredible that we live in such an upside-down society? So the criteria to go to a FEMA camp is if you're a good, upstanding American. If you support good, upstanding people for public office. If you go to church on Sunday. This is the criteria. That's who's going to a FEMA camp. How will they do it? Well, here's what history teaches us. The bus comes in about 4 a.m. There's an accompanying truck, in our case an SUV. Troops of the mass will jump out. They'll come. They'll have the little pylon. They'll knock down your door. You'll be looking up in a somber sleep, just opening your eyes to guns in your face with flashlights that blind you. You'll go with the clothes you have on or don't have on. They'll throw you in the back of a truck. You'll be handcuffed after you've been face scanned and fingerprinted. And they'll take you off to a relocation facility where you'll be given prison garb and processed. And then they'll make a decision where they send you. And they will not send men, women, moms and dads and kids to the same place. They'll separate families. How do we know? Because this has been in the FEMA camp literature. FM 39.4, for example. I couldn't make this stuff up. Go to the Common Sense Show, put in FM 39.4. Plan on spending a couple hours reading because I've written about this a number of times. This is how they're going to make the decisions on who's going to go and how they're going to do it. When is it going to happen? It's going to happen in a preemptive manner. And this is what I would do if I were them. When Donald Trump is gone from office because the American people didn't bother to change Congress enough in 2018, the Democrats regained control of the House, they will impeach Donald Trump. And then they'll begin to enact their own reign of terror on the United States people. And before they come after your guns and before they do all the other things that'll cause America to rise up, they're going to come and make surgical strikes. That's what, do you remember the drills they did in 2015? 2016, do you remember UX16? Do you remember those drills?
JHL 15.
That's what they were doing them for. They're coming for people like you listening to this broadcast. Surgical strikes, middle of the night, take you out, and then the reign of terror is going to begin. And they've said it in so many different ways on how they're going to do it and how they've practiced for it. This is the time we're at. We are at a crossroads. There is no second opportunity here.
We either stand up to these people, and I've given you the political mechanisms to do it, scare the hell out of Congress with the fear of not being reelected, and a lot of these people will buckle. They are weak people. They're weak because they've taken the easy way in Congress. Oh, sure, Mr. Free Trader, let me take your corporate money, and I'll sock some of it away for myself because I don't need this much for my campaign. They're weak, and you can intimidate them. You can intimidate them easily. And their egos are so big they can't stand the thought of not being reelected. But America's going to do what it's going to do. But if we don't protect Donald Trump by controlling Congress, both now and in 2018, not only will we not get his agenda implemented, this one holy hell is going to begin in this country. Well, that's it for the Common Sense Show. Thanks for joining us. I hope you have food, water, guns, gold, and ammo. If you don't, we can help you with the food. Go to Numana.com/Hodges to see what we offer. 5% off sale. The coupon code Hodges NOV5. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That sounds good. Sounds good, guys. Not looking good for us. So, that's reversed. That is reversed, folks. Did you hear that? So, we have to protect Donald Trump for us to stay out of the freaking... That's reversed.
Details emerge.
Wow.
Distractions disappear. And when we
They just come out tonight. So let everybody know. Share this video. If we don't protect Trump, we're dead. Pretty much. Who would have thunk it? Wow. Here we go. More news.
I want to take this moment to discuss something with you that has many people shaken. Over the years, some things have happened. The particular company that has raised some red flags with a few folks, and now they are convinced that their worst nightmares are coming true. I'm talking about Walmart FEMA camps. Word on the street is they've been transporting hurricane refugees into these camps, and horrible things are happening there. So I want to talk about this. Do you really want to know what's going on? Well, I want to point some things out about this that are not really being discussed. There are some people out there who are very well-meaning, and they want to provide you with the best information available. But it is difficult to see the whole picture when you keep finding the same bits of information over and over from different people. And if you do not look into these things yourself, it is going to be very hard to make sense of what these people are saying. And what they are saying about Walmart is quite disturbing, but only part reality. So this is one of those times you are really going to have to use your powers of discernment to establish what is an incredible fiction and a terrible truth.
Crazy. I'd stay away from Walmarts, everyone. They're Dollar General or something. Shit. Bunch of thugs running Walmarts.
So due to recent catastrophic events, people are concerned, and some are convinced that this is the work of the government. You know, you hear people talking about CERN, HARP, weather manipulation, leading into discussions about FEMA camps and coffins, martial law, the depopulation agenda. I know some people do not believe these things are happening, but there are some people, all they want is the truth. And they believe they are not getting it. So they are going to take some of these stories and run with them. And that's fine, but not everything is what it seems. Let me give you an example. You've all seen this before, right? The Georgia Guidestones. Now, the common theorist consensus about this monument is that the evil scum of the ruling class, they want to wipe us out. They want to depopulate the earth, reduce the population below 500 million, right? That's what it states, yes? No, that is not what it states. It doesn't state reduce the population. It states to maintain the population. The word population isn't even in there. It reads, maintain humanity under 500 million. Folks, these stones were not meant for us. They are not stones of dark prophecy. They are meant to be a set of guidelines for the surviving generation. These stones are meant to be read by people who are still around after something very bad has happened. Do you get it now? If people bothered to read the rest of the stone, they would see that. Doesn't make it any less creepy. In fact, it makes it even more unsettling because there is someone or some people out there who have information leading them to believe that the population is somehow going to someday drop below that particular number. And they believe it enough to spend money to put up these stones. More on that later. Let's move on to what's happening with Walmart. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to make this very clear to everyone. Hate is a strong word. I am not particularly fond of this company. I have been there on several occasions, but I don't normally purchase anything because in most cases, I'm there with someone else who shops there. And in most of those cases, I could not stand being in there.
Wow.
This company employs more than 2 million people worldwide. Oh, they are a mega giant, all right. Let me give you something to chew on. If you took Coca-Cola, if you took their money and combined it with Amazon, Macy's, Target, Sears, and Walt Disney, if you combine the profits of all those companies, it still would not come even close to what Walmart makes. I'm talking about a company that makes close to $500 billion annually. They have over 11,000 stores in 27 countries, so yes, they are a giant. A giant so big that they crush smaller businesses around them. Now, this started out as Walton's Five and Dime in Bentonville, Arkansas, known today as the Walmart Museum. This was established in 1951 by ex-military and retail entrepreneur Sam Walton. And in 1962, he would open the first official Walmart store in Rogers, Arkansas, the Walmart Discount City Store. Now, Sam was able to expand this business to over 1,900 stores made up of Walmart, Sam's Club, and a few Walmart supercenters. At that time, he employed around 380,000 people, generating sales of nearly $50 billion annually, until he died in April of 1992. Now, the business was, of course, left to his family, but today, for the most part, the Waltons are no longer directly involved in the company. However, they still do own about half the shares of the company. So fast forward to 2010, and this is where it all started. Janet Napolitano, who at that time was the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, made a public service announcement stating that Walmart would be playing an active role in the DHS See Something, Say Something initiative. And this caused a few people to question Walmart's relationship with the government. Now, 5 years later, in 2015, something happened. Walmart announced that it would be closing several of its locations for several months due to plumbing problems that needed to be addressed. Whether that is true or not, people made a big stink about it, especially the employees. I mean, who wouldn't be upset about losing their job? But keep in mind, folks, they only closed 5 stores. 5. And I am pretty sure that they did not just fire all of the employees at those locations. I'm sure some of them transferred to other nearby Walmart locations. I'm pretty sure many of them had a second or third job, and I'm pretty sure many of them needed to be fired anyway. No? Have you ever been to a Walmart? Yeah. I mean, we all know that Walmart and companies like them tend to hire a pretty lousy team of workers at the lowest wages possible. And the reason for that is most big chain stores, fast food restaurants, when they hire people, the average hire only sticks around for about 3 months and then they quit. And you can't blame the workers for doing that. Look at the customers that they have to deal with in these places. How many of you remember the guy who walked into a Walmart, grabbed the baseball bat from the sports department, strolled on over to the CD department, and out of nowhere just clubbed the woman from behind while she was browsing for CDs? They have had so many fights there, they could conquer pay-per-view. There's been kidnappings, these ridiculous internet challenges. People even say that Walmart has this odd smell to it. You know, I really think that there may be some dark presence in many of these stores, and if that were to be true, then you would have to ask yourself, what kind of event or dark ritual would have to occur on the property to bring in that type of presence? Anyway, after these 5 stores closed, people went on to talk about how Walmart was using its locations to develop FEMA camps. Not the kids kind, the concentration kind. This is the story a few people were selling and many people bought it. I mean, if you close down one of these stores and then start installing razor wire fencing to keep people in, not to keep people out, the razor wire is on the inside of the fence intended to keep people from getting out. So of course you're going to have people looking at that saying, Walmart, you've got some explaining to do. Now after this, things did quiet down until last year, when Walmart decided to close 269 of its stores. People freaked out because of this, so let me explain what happened. You may think that 269 stores is a lot, but to Walmart, it is not. Not when you have 10,500 plus stores still in operation. And that was 269 stores worldwide, not just in the US, no. 154 stores closed in the US out of over 4,000. And the majority of those stores were the small, dollar store sized express Walmart locations, including some Supercenter and Sam's Club locations. Now they say they did this because they had plans to open another 300 locations in the future, and they wanted to primarily get rid of the express stores because of poor financial performance and focus more on building their supercenters. For obvious reasons, money. You see, Walmart may be the retail giant, but their specialty is distribution. They are very good at moving merchandise efficiently and quickly, which is the secret to Walmart's success. So now that you have a bit more information on what has led to this dark theory, I want to point out something that I found very interesting. Now, if you were a military strategist during a time of war, or during a time of civil unrest, or during a state of emergency, you would want to have certain locations designated to be military outposts. You would want locations that are less than 15 minutes from any city, but secluded enough so that access to them could be easily blocked. You want a location that is near a water source, like a creek or river. You also want a location that is right off of a major highway or railway, an artery. You want the location to be surrounded by textile factories, chemical factories, storage facilities, metalworking facilities, training facilities. You want them to be close to stores that provide building materials like Home Depot and Lowe's, right? You want them to be close to carrier yards where they have a surplus of trucks and trailers, with a tire center nearby. You want a large, solid, warehouse-style building that can operate as a place of business for the meantime, but that can also be quickly gutted and transformed into a military base or a supply lot for disaster aid, storage, or a medical facility with a pharmacy, and even a holding facility or prison. It can serve several functions, and what better place to get all those things and more than at and around Walmart. Google maps some of the Walmart Supercenter locations, and you will notice how these are strategically placed, which is probably why every Walmart has a large drain outlet by their building, as any military, medical, or holding installation like a jail would require efficient plumbing in case of flooding or other circumstances in an emergency event. Because if you have people in a hurricane shelter without proper plumbing, this is what happens.
What happened?
Remember, folks, earlier this year, the government wanted to use several Walmart locations in California and Texas as holding facilities for illegal immigrants, which is probably why you see the fencing on stores in those areas. But that whole idea quickly ended once a truckload of people died behind a Texas Walmart recently. Speaking of Texas, it is rumored that FEMA was taking Hurricane Harvey evacuees to some of these Walmart locations for shelter. People were saying, oh, they're taking people to Walmart. They won't let them out, and they're killing them in there. My thing is, there are way too many people who are using their cell phones and live streaming to not have any leaked footage of this. The only footage you may come across is of a truck with its tailgate open on an ABC News 13 broadcast. Now, you cannot see what is inside the truck, but in that broadcast, the reporter states that yes, people were in fact being transported to Walmart for shelter. And in that same broadcast, the reporter also states that these people were then being transported from Walmart to another city shelter. They just didn't know where due to the fact that the main city shelter for evacuees was at full capacity. So the government did utilize some of these locations, just as I have stated before. They received $20 million from Walmart, the use of their buildings to set up pharmacies and whatever else they needed, and extra trucks to transport and supply hurricane victims. And that is as much as anybody knows, besides the people who were actually there. The fact is, the government could use these facilities for almost anything they want, including concentration camps. I do not think that is what's happening right now, but anything is possible, and only time will reveal that. I put nothing past these people. There are rumors that Walmart is digging tunnels. Now, everybody knows certain companies have these boring machines. I am still looking for the connection between these companies and Walmart, and most likely that connection would be in the form of a contract, because nobody's digging these tunnels for free. Truck drivers have admitted to transporting trailers through some of these tunnels that stretch across several states. I'm still trying to figure out how you drive down a tunnel that long without falling asleep. These drivers are hardcore. So yeah, if these Walmarts are strategically placed, then there very well may be tunnels nearby or running underneath that artery. But until they admit it, or someone gives us a leaked video tour from Walmart to the tunnel, we can only speculate. If you're really concerned and you want to avoid what Walmart might have in store for you folks, get yourself better prepared for emergencies. Stay alert to what's going on around you, where you live. Take these weather warnings seriously. Buy a few bug-out bag survival kits. Keep extra gas in storage, as well as getting in the habit of keeping your vehicle's gas tank on full. After it drops to 3/4 of a tank, fill it back up. Know where you are going to go and how you're going to get there, in case you have to leave your home. And do try to leave your home before the state of emergency is issued, because next comes the announcement of evacuation, and you do not want to be stuck in traffic with kids in the back seat and your gas tank on E, especially with some destructive force closing in on you. When it comes to Walmart and these FEMA camps, yes, they can do it, but as of right now, you are still more likely to have problems with other citizens committing crimes against you than the military, as of right now. But stay awake and focused, and keep the trust within your family and friends, not with strangers in the government, as they certainly could mean the difference between you keeping your freedom and or your life.
He's not playing. I've been warning you. You don't want to fucking listen and go to hell. That's the way I look at it. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm warning you because I care. And I'm saying we're outnumbered. So if you think you're only doing it for yourself, you're not. I just want you to know that. This is stupid. Cannot believe I cannot get this guy out. Damn, he calls. Yeah, not that hard either. More news. I promise you that, folks. What? Really? This is really happening right now? Hold on. Wow. Freaking A. You still there? No, you ain't. First round. Yeah, this is this first round. I'm getting my butt kicked by what his name is? R-Truth. No, I'm not in the first round. I'm actually in the, round, which my phone's dying, so just hold on. My phone, my dang camera. I didn't realize it. That's why I'm having to pause it. Pause it like that. Oh well. It happens. It's set up on the top of a freaking hill. There we go. Gosh, finally. 2 of y'all, thanks for the likes, but I'm getting my butt kicked by R-Truth. I mean, not get my butt kicked, but he won't give up. And it's like, holy crap. Let's see, there's more news. Just hold on. I hope y'all are enjoying it. Thank you for the 2 likes. I guess everybody else died. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, why not? Check this out.
I don't have a lot of time to say. If you switch to Liberty Mutual, you can save $782.
This story comes out of a lady. I am Gabriel. That's her station. If you want to subscribe to her, she's pretty good. She's got 140,000 views on this. Just check this out, okay? And get ready, folks. You only got 23 more months, but you've only got a couple months left until they take your guns during Christmas. Just thought you might want to know that.
That was faster than I thought.
Okay, I got
Coming back now, this is the old Walmart shopping center. It's big enough, but what surprises me and what you see online with these Walmart places.
ladies, I thought that might do it.
Cornell made his billions, jumped out. Wall Street said that he made a good move. You know, now the news is that Walmart bought this Target warehouse, which really is difficult to, put together why Target come together. And the reason for it is, I think, is because it's just all related to FEMA campgrounds. And this is what I'm going to prove to you again. There is another operational train track that goes right through this industrial park. There is There's so much more evidence. Just tune in and I'll show you some more stuff. No trespassing there, it says.
Not a happy man. I'm at the neighborhood Walmart in San Jose, California. This is what it has become. I did not want to believe it, but it's happening.
I don't want to believe it either.
Does this look like your friendly neighborhood Walmart?
It is essentially a declaration of international martial law, a sweeping transfer of military power to the president that will allow him or her to send U.S. troops almost anywhere in the world for almost any reason with absolutely no limitation.
And the way it's set up too is perfect. Look at, they got a security. Why would you have a security camera right here? Why is it?
That's crazy.
What? This obviously looks like some sort of an entrance that they're gonna have you coming in and out of. I mean, come on.
There you go. There you go. I'm gonna do it now. Mercy. No.
As the voice over the loudspeaker, where you can hear him shouting, "We will not tolerate civil disobedience."
Attention, attention, attention. American forces are here to help.
Wow, that
Remain
beat.
calm. We will not tolerate civil disobedience.
Now, if this was practice for the Middle East, you'd think they'd say something like, "We will not tolerate civil disobedience" in Arabic. I mean, wouldn't they?
There's a fight there.
Introduce you to the 3M-54 Club.
By the way, if you see them blue dumpsters at these closed Walmarts, those are missiles inside there. I don't know if you knew that or not. They think they're about to get attacked. But with all the other stuff that's been going on, folks, I mean, I can't believe I just heard that we have to protect Trump for this to for this not to happen. So what in the world's going on? Who's in the lead here? I mean, who? I don't know, guys. I really don't. I'm absolutely shocked with some of this stuff. And that was an African American that just said we have to protect Trump earlier. So enjoy. We're not done. This is the last two. R-Truth versus Nomar Dar.
Is a Russian surface ship and submarine launched anti-ship missile developed by the Novator Design Bureau. Its NATO designation is SS-N-27A with the NATO code of Sizzler.
Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. A lot of us brothers in the truth, we may become martyrs, because there will be martyrs according to the Holy Scriptures. There will be brothers that are put to death for the word. They are put to death because of their faith. Going back to the 90s, all right, to the 1990s, you have what's called the Noahide laws, all right? You have the state of Georgia. They ordered 30,000 guillotines. Well, the American government ordered 30,000 guillotines, and supposedly you have 15,000 in Georgia, and you have the other 15,000 in Montana.
Hey guys, Kwasi Jr. here. So I just wanted to say, if I had a guillotine, not that I do, I don't, but if I had a guillotine, people would probably say that that's suspicious, right? I mean, anyone, in their right mind, do they want to chop people's heads off or something? But FEMA ordered 30,000 guillotines. 30,000 guillotines. Those things where they lock your head into a wooden frame and drop a blade about 20 feet and it slices your heads off and decapitates you. Yeah, FEMA has 30,000 of those. And they also have thousands of coffins that can hold up to 6 bodies each.
These look like coffins for a FEMA care, and I wonder where he's moving these coffins to. This is crazy. They gonna put us in these coffins and take us to the FEMA care, and I pull up on this big truck carrying a load of coffins. Wow, this is the scariest thing I have ever seen. And they moving it in public, in plain view. This is broad daylight. So y'all know this is real. This is real.
30,000 guillotines if FEMA is not going to go through with this. Why? Why would they waste that money on 30,000 guillotines? A psyop? I doubt it. I don't see it. I think they're going to kill innocent people. I think that Hurricane Harvey was an HAARP weather modification induced storm.
Ventilation coming out of where they're loading from the underground. See, so it seems like they're unloading these trucks and taking them down into a basement, right? They just keep loading and unloading there. And a lot.
Speaking of one that unloads, I followed one from Hueytown to the West Coast that had the Freemason. Yes, he lives in Hueytown. His name's Paul. He's an old fat fart. And I got to see one of them trucks, and I got to see the tags. Gosh, I wished I could have took a picture of it. I wasn't even thinking at the time, but I really didn't know what that was at first. Then I got on the phone with a friend of mine that's friends with some of them, and they said, yes, it's true. Stuff is coming true. They're getting ready for something that's coming outer space. People are like, You got aluminum foil over your head. Well, yeah, you do too. Because remember, chemtrails are falling on your head every time it rains. If you did not know that, that's why all the rain is happening. That's why you're getting sicker and sicker and sicker. They're going to try to make you sick. That's about it. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. And our truth wins this thing again. Holy crap. This guy's good. But what I'm trying to get at is, folks, we're getting to the nitty gritty. This has happened in the World War One. This has happened in World War Two, and now it's about to happen in World War Three. Guys, get it through your thick skull. They thought God was coming in World War One. They thought God was coming in World War Two. Now they're thinking God's coming back in World War Three. Folks, y'all need to wake up. My grandfather even said it. He said they had that plan in World War Two. That's why you need to quit it. Yes, believe in God and everything, but my grandfather said they were raping women and kids. They would tie them up onto the guillotine and screw them, pretty much. And then if they were hot and good looking and everything, they would keep them and slave them and put the kids underground. That's how they did it. Like they said, they're going to separate the families. That's what I'm trying to get at, folks. Rachel, you're a good-looking lady. You don't think they're going to come and get you first? You need to find some help and get you some people around you that knows what's up. Women, it's time to go back to the old days. Get with a man. You need a man to protect you. I'm sorry to break the news to you. They separated you on purpose. The agenda was to separate the men and the women so you would not fight back. They knew, Obama even knew it, that if a woman and a woman got together, they would not survive. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything, but statistics say that the women don't survive with women. And that's why they did it. They made that law for gays for that reason. I don't have a problem with you being gay. I really don't, ladies. Men. But that was their plan. And it's working. Because you listen to the government. And a lot of y'all, I read some of y'all's Facebooks and it's hilarious. Politicals, I hate Obama. Politicals, I hate Trump. They're all together. So it doesn't matter who you hate. You need to fight for your kids. You need to fight for your family. Quit breaking your family up. Doesn't matter if you do a job. It doesn't matter if you look ugly. You need to work together. This breaking up family stuff is retarded. The bros, the African Americans, y'all need to quit fighting against each other. Black, white, Hispanic, even the Muslims are being made fun of, folks. Your media has tried to kill everybody. Your media. Saturday Night Live. I would call it Satanic Night Live. Satan Night Live. How about that? Didn't expect that one, did you? But I was just giving you heads up. I care. Do you care? Do you want to survive? Or do you want the rich people to bitch slap you some more? Because when The Rock comes involved, he wants to eat you, kids. So remember that. He wants to molest you. So does Joe Biden. So does Obama. I'm tired of calling him Obama. His name is not Obama, by the way. His name is Barry Sarto. So when I say Barry Sarto, you know who I'm talking about. Because that's who we're going to call him. He got a fake name from like a Hollywood name. From Jeffrey, from Harvey Weinstein. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. That is his actor. That's his producer.
These are even closed and they're still loading and unloading. what's really going on. We need to figure this out because something's going on with Walmart, right? Something's going on, and they're not going to tell us.
Hello, YouTube community. Just after 6 o'clock in the...
Oh, by the way, if you not noticed, every Walmart has train tracks right behind it. What have we been hearing in the middle of the night? Trains with a bunch of military stuff on it. So remember that, folks. Remember that. They don't want you to be here for the millennium. They don't want you to be here for 2020 because they've got robots to take over your jobs and your life. You pretty much put your taxes to robots to take your job. They're like, ha ha, we got you. We're old and we're ugly and we're going to live, and they're not. Do you know a lot of y'all that's not helping each other are going to die first? Do you realize that? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to go back to the old days when you're woman and man together. Because that's the only way you're going to survive. Look, the Mexicans are doing it better than we are, folks. Remember that. The Mexicans are doing it better than we are. They got 7 or 8 Mexicans together. And they do it by the book. Women and women. Women and men. I know that for a fact. Because I'm friends with some of them. I'm just giving you heads up. This thing that y'all got going on, men, you need to wake up. Women, you need to wake up. Keep your kids safe and keep your dogs safe out of the cars, because I've been seeing a lot of people leaving their dogs. Okay, we can't afford it no more. Let's just put the dog in the car and burn them up and die. Because that's what I'm seeing right now. I took care of a lady for 7 years that had fibromyalgia. I try to help her. I try to help her manage her money. And I even helped the girls manage their money working with me. Because they wanted to do what I did. I didn't ask them to do it. I didn't push them to do it. See, the easiest way to do it is to show the ladies what you're doing. Man. Because if you're making money and they see what you're doing and everything, they're like, oh, I want to do it. And that's what I did. I didn't even have to tell them to stop smoking. They knew I didn't smoke and that I was in better shape. I didn't tell them to get off the drugs. They got off of them because they see they weren't working. Found out some good news that my aunts got off the drugs. I am so happy. I am so happy. Thank the Lord on that one, man. Seriously, because she was scaring the crap out of me. There was a lot of stuff happening. I want everything to get better. I'm not getting to see none of my friends. I'm not doing nothing but working my rear end off for y'all. After I lost Katrinka, after I stopped working for Lindsay, it's like, heck, what else do I have? I went back to my old ways. What never broke up with me, never argued with me, was my gaming, my stories, my news, and my game designs. Which they took my NASCAR booth on my NASCAR 15 game. Then they took Forza. I don't know what's going on with Forza 6 lately. It's not been acting right. So, I want to tell you this for a fact. Okay, ladies and gentlemen and kids. Love people. Care about them. Doesn't matter if they're gay or bi or straight. Get along with them, guys, because we're going to be outnumbered soon. I'm seeing China. They're painting just like in the movie. Red Dawn. The movie shows that there's an American flag on this military vehicle or SUV, and they put a China and a Soviet Union and a North Korea sign on this thing, on this vehicle. I seen it this week. And then we seen China come in Iowa. The president, Jinping. And I'm not getting a lot of views on it because you know why? They want me to stop and quit. I know I'm getting views because I've got almost 300,000 views on my channels. I'm good. I know I'm more waking them people up. I've even got atheist people waking up. And that's great because it ain't just about atheists. Y'all need to wake up too because they're going to kill you too. Do you realize that if you're not rich, they're going to kill you? Remember that. If you don't got a lot of money, you're dead. And you're going to be raped, just like in Hurricane Katrina. Do you not realize what they're going to use the football stadiums for? Just like they did in New Orleans. That's why they want you to act like a fool and not show up to the football games or the NASCAR or whatever. They want to control you, and that's what they're doing. They're controlling you in reverse psychology on the news. You're watching it. You're listening to these big CIA operative channels on YouTube. And I'm trying to tell you, you need to start acting like nothing is wrong. If you do that, they're going to kill you. They're going to rape you. You're not going to be ready. Guys, we've got 6 storms in the Gulf. 5 in the Gulf, 1 in the West Pacific that's heading to Hawaii. That's going to be catastrophe, folks. If that hits Hawaii, folks, the Caldera and the Summit and the Pujo is it's going to, you know how it is when it rains and storms like that. What's going to happen? A big mudslide in the whole side of Hawaii, that's where it's at, is going to go into the water. And what's going to happen is none other than a tsunami. Could that be the way they do the tsunami? They do know how to control the weather. Are they going to use a hurricane to pull this thing down? Who knows? All I know is to be ready, be prepared. People in California, they want you out. I don't got a lot of time. I just wanted to tell you what was going on tonight. This is my only and last show tonight. I got another one tomorrow. We'll be heading to the next tournament tomorrow. I hope. My finger's not feeling good, and that's why I got my butt kicked by R-Truth. I don't put it on easy. You noticed I just got my butt kicked. But I just want to let you know I care. All I'm asking you to do is share these videos, subscribe. I'm not asking for money because no YouTube channel is getting paid no more. I want you to know that right now. We're out here to warn you because we care. Okay? I sat with a guy in Charter Communications last year. My boss was at work. I was sitting for Lindsay, for Bella, and he said, like I said, they're trying to depopulate the country. That was when Obama was in office, folks. So remember that. Obama is not the only one that's doing this. Every president's doing this. If you've not heard, the NWO controls the Democrats and the Republicans. I hope y'all enjoyed my show tonight. I really care. I love every one of y'all. I know y'all don't know me, but I promise you this. You will. Take care. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Appreciate it. Take care.